Well, welcome everyone, and happy Nurses Day to everybody on the call today, and everyone who can't join us who will be watching this afterwards. My name's Zoe Fry. I'm proud to be a nurse working in adult social care. I'm the director of the Outstanding Society, who share and celebrate best practice and help others to improve. I've been privileged to have worked in adult social care since the age of 13, and I'm still working in adult social care, which is such a fantastic sector. I think today is going to be really important. I think it's quite a sad day, but I feel very proud chairing this meeting because it will be Deborah Sturdy's final meeting as Chief Nurse for Adult Social Care on International Nurses Day. Without further ado, I would actually like to move on to our first video. If you could move the slide on, please, Alan. I think there's
Social
nobody
care
better.
nurses are unique and resilient people who are hard to come by. You are the steady heartbeat of social care and have a huge impact on the lives of the people you care for. You work long hours under pressure, and not only do you complete your mandatory work, you still find the time to have a laugh or spend 5 minutes listening to someone. Your kindness makes difficult moments easier for both the individuals and their loved ones. I would like to use exemplars Leanne Ford and Zoe Shears, both of whom are highly respected and qualified social care nurses, as a prime example. On a personal level, they have changed the way I think about my life, the challenges I face, and have helped my confidence grow massively. To all social care nurses, your care makes a huge difference every single day.
I think that's amazing. Abby has been so involved in lots of different conferences recently, and she asked whether she could record something that recognised everybody and the people in her organisation. And I think it just says so much about adult social care. I think Abby's on the call today, so a huge thank you for providing that video to everyone. Just to say, we've got about 30 videos that people have recorded for us. Obviously, we can't share them all during this hour's meeting. However, Alan has worked his best at developing a blog for you all to see. Sonia will post that in the chat facility so you can see all the videos from all your different colleagues, friends, people who with lived experience. So thank you everybody who's contributed. Without further ado, I want to pass on to Deborah Sturdy, Chief Nurse for Adult Social Care.
Thanks, Zoe, and thanks, Abby. That is such a great video. And I met Abby, was it last week or the week before? I can't remember, at the care show. So yeah, I had great pleasure of meeting her, and like I say, massive thank you for that. It is really important to hear that. Happy International Nurses Day to you all. And we all know as nurses, it can be a hard gig sometimes in social care. But what we do is driven by passion, I think, with all of us. And I feel very proud to be here today with colleagues from the Social Care Nurse Advisory Councils to help talk about and celebrate the fabulous things that go on in social care. And so much has happened. I think we've really got our voices heard. I was talking at the regional event in the Midlands this morning, just saying about, the NMC is setting up an advisory group for social care. So really important that you all participate and get stuck in there with the review of the revalidation, practice learning, and looking at the code. Really important that our voices are heard. The fabulous work that's going on at NIHR and with Dr. Zena Aldridge in the programme that she has been so brilliant at leading, giving opportunity for internships for nurses in social care to have that opportunity over the next 5 years to explore and develop their research capability, knowledge, and kind of inquisitiveness, I think, is really important. We've got Claire Claire Pryor at Salford University is our first Professor of Social Care Nursing, which is brilliant. And I hope that in the kind of next few years, we can stop saying, Claire's the first, but Claire is one of several Professors of Social Care Nursing. And thanks to the RCN Foundation for funding that and getting that off the ground. Working collaboratively is how we're going to, kind of continue. You are going to continue to make a real difference. And I think that partnership we see with the RCN, we see it with Queen's Institute Community Nursing, and we see it with the Foundation of Nursing Studies, along with colleagues at Skills for Care, and yourselves out there in services in all its iterations. And I think that kind of collectivism, that collective voice is really going to help us continue to have that kind of strength of impact, and make sure that we stand up and be proud of what we do, because we do such brilliant stuff, often unsung, but increasingly getting spotlighted. So it can't just be down to one individual. I've had the most incredible career. I've had the absolute privilege of being in this role, and helping and enabling others to find their pathways and to find their voices in social care. And so this is my last International Nurses Day in this role. I really want to wish you all absolutely every continued success. Ask that you work together, ask that you kind of support each other. It's never about one of us, it's always about all of us. And actually use your voices. We all have the more power than we realise. We are 2%, nurses are 2% of the working population. I've just been writing a chapter for the first textbook in social care nursing, because one's not been written, which is quite incredible, really. And I was doing some work on it at the weekend. And just thinking, and obviously thinking about influencing us, about influencing in policy. And the thing about influencing, we have so much power. We're the most trusted, we remain the most trusted professional group. And we have to harness that energy and that power to use that kind of that trust to influence for good. And social care nursing has to be at the forefront of that. One of my many things that I say about social care is that, we have moments of our lives, we have days and weeks of our lives experiencing healthcare, but people live months and years and sometimes lifetimes in social care. That kind of trust that we build, I think, goes above and beyond. So we need to use that power base to our advantage. So my ask of you is that you carry on fighting, you carry on using your voice for good, for both nursing, but most importantly, and always the central bit of what we do, is about the people that we're here to serve. So I'm going to hand over now to Stephen Kinnett, Minister for Care, who wanted to talk to you and offer his kind of words of celebration for today. Thank you.
Dear colleagues, in celebration of International Nurses Day 2026, I would like to thank you, the nurses working in adult social care, for the vital work you provide to people across the nation and for the professionalism you bring to the adult social care sector. It's my hope that more nurses will consider embarking on a rewarding career in social care, with greater opportunities for those who would. In February, the Royal College of Nursing Foundation and the University of Salford published their first report, which developed the sector's first formal definition of social care nursing. I welcome the report's contribution towards ensuring that social care nurses are valued as the professionals that they are. Following the strategy that I launched last July to ensure a placement for every undergraduate nurse in social care, I welcome the first follow-up report from Skills for Care in partnership with the Council of Deans on the strategy implementation. The report provides helpful recommendations for how universities can use this insight to make sure that students are given an accurate and effective introduction to social care career paths. This autumn, the first cohort of social care nurses on the National Institute for Health and Care Research Development Programme will complete their internships. This has included nurses new to research and those at postdoctorate level. I have been pleased to hear about their personal development journey and the successes that we're already seeing in the development of quality improvement work. The 7 regional social care nurse advisory councils continue to forge strong working relationships with NHS colleagues and have made great progress working hand in glove with integrated care boards. This ensures the voice of social care nurses makes an impact on how health and care is delivered. The advisory councils have also continued to deliver an impressive range of research projects and pilots focused on improving quality of care, showcasing once again the outsized impact professionals in the sector can have when they are enabled to implement their knowledge and expertise. All these initiatives demonstrate a thriving social care nursing community and one which will continue to grow. The government is continuing to work to build our national care service. Baroness Casey has set out recommendations for immediate action on adult social care. We're acting swiftly to take them forward, and we expect nurses to play an important role in delivering. Let me end by thanking you once again for all your work and professionalism. Your skills, dedication, and compassion make an unquantifiable difference to countless lives.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. So I think that's absolutely amazing. And during our first panel discussion, we'll be hearing about some of the areas that Minister Kinnock has referred to. So if I could get my panel to introduce themselves, please. So Deborah is going to be joined by Sarah. Over to you, Sarah, to say hi.
Hi, I'm Sarah McGloin. I'm the Head of Grants and Impact at the RCM Foundation. And as you've heard earlier, we're delighted to be funding the first chair in adult social care nursing, so Claire Pryor at Salford University. And through that, the whole team at Salford has really developed. So yeah, really great to see. So lovely to join you this afternoon.
Fantastic. Thanks, Sarah. And Kathy.
Hello, everybody. So I'm Kathy, the clinical practice lead here at the University of Exeter. I'm an adult nurse and I've worked in or with social care as a social care nurse for the past 40 years.
Fantastic. Thanks, Kathy. And Michelle.
Hi, I'm Michelle Tennant. I work for Home Instead. I'm the clinical governance lead, and we work over a franchise network of 265 domiciliary care offices. I've been a nurse for, I think, 25 years now, and I'm also one of the people that Stephen mentioned, just completing my PhD, and I'm on the internship for social care nurses.
Fantastic. Well, welcome everyone. And so many years of nursing experience in adult social care, which is fantastic. I'm going to come back to Deborah first of all and ask Deborah to reflect on Minister Kinnock's video, if possible, please.
Thanks, Zoe. So one of the things that I think that came across for me in that is that kind of sense of recognition of the value of social care nurses. And, you know, these are, you know, for ministers, these are really tough jobs. They're very busy people. He has a massive, massive portfolio, way beyond social care. So, you know, I think it's sincere and it's thoughtful about actually recognising what we all do and what we all bring to the table. And I think his point about, you know, the work that Baroness Casey's doing in setting out that future and the ambition for a national care service and what that means for improving, you know, improving things for people who not only use services, but also the work that's going on around the fair pay agreement. So for people working in social care as well. But I think he also, you know, rightly recognises partnership in that video, and obviously talks about colleagues from the NHS and the work that the Social Care Nurse Advisory Council are doing, the Council of Dean, the work that Lucy Gillespie is so ably led along with others at Skills for Care in getting that undergraduate placement going. And you know, that came from a conversation that I had with Stephen when he started as minister, and he said, what can we do to make a difference, and so sort of, give me 2 minutes and I'll think about it. And I talked to him about changing the future, and if you want to change the future, you have to think about what that workforce is going to be like. So how do we influence that? So, and he got that in a nanosecond and said, well, let's just do it then. So I think he really does want to, well, not only does want to, but is actually leading the charge on enabling people to make and be that change. Thanks.
Thanks, Deborah. And I think reflecting back, so much has been achieved. It seems like yesterday that you were first in post, but lots has been achieved. So thank you. Michelle, I'm going to come over to you now. When you think about highly skilled adult social care nursing today, what does that look like in practice? And why do you think people still misunderstand about adult social care nursing?
I think it's that people are just, we're underestimated. So I think when I started training many years ago, early 2000s, I was given the option that really hospital was the only place for me. And when I mentioned I always wanted to do I was a diploma nurse, I always wanted to do degree in gerontological nursing. I got battered away at every single opportunity saying, it's not needed, you don't need to do that. And I felt not valued even at that very early stage of my career. Luckily, I don't generally give up on anything, so I just continued with that. And I think what I came to realize as a youngster is that in adult social care, you get so many complex decisions in people's lives. In the hospital, you're managing them for that one period of time, but in their home, you're managing, how they operate within their communities, their immediate safety net of the people that are surrounding them, their families, etc. And there's nobody generally there to back you up. So there's not a doctor just down the corridor. There's not your colleague next door to you. So it's that level of judgment that I think is really needed and is incredibly underestimated, I think, by the rest of the population. They don't understand that we have to take in all of that information and provide that service, but also whilst building that relationship with that person and that person's family and the people that mean most to them in order to provide that care. And I think the more that we can impart that knowledge onto, newly nurses that are coming up and newly qualified and exposing them to that social care realm at a very early stage, I think it will just become more and more part of their vocabulary, and they'll welcome that and they'll see how rewarding it will be to them.
That's brilliant. Thanks, Michelle. And just reflecting on a couple of things that you said you don't give up on anything. I think so many social care nurses have that value, have that ethos. So thank you for sharing that. And I also think what you said about what social care nurses do for the people that they're caring for, I think just reflect back on what Abby said and how those nurses have actually changed the way she perceives her life, which is very, very powerful. Thank you, Michelle. So Kathy, I know you have undertaken some research around visibility. Why do you think adult social care nursing still struggles for visibility compared to other parts of the healthcare system, and what actually needs to change?
It's difficult which part of that question's to start with, really, because it's got quite a length and depth to it, hasn't it? But talking to nurses and talking to all the providers that we set up and use for our student placements, they really don't feel there's a comparison there with them between the health sector. For example, there are no pay grades, there's no recognised traditional route in terms of progression that is visible for people for others to see. So there's a big gap there between health and social care and how people perceive it, and that makes nurses within social care feel a little bit invisible. I've spoken to nurses in social care that quite advanced managers unable to go back into the NHS because there isn't an equivalent pay grade there for what they've been doing. So that does cause a little bit of concern for want of a better word, and a little bit of anxiety. Talking to students, they feel that becoming a social care nurse is a dead end to their career. And unfortunately, we do still have some of those thoughts and feelings around, although I am very aware things are rapidly changing, perceptions are changing clearly. But that invisibility, you've recently worked with Skills for Care with a research project across England about perceptions of social care nurses, and every focus group I spoke to identified in one way or another about how invisible they felt. So it is an area to work on. What was the rest of the question, Zoe?
No, I think that's brilliant, Kathy. And again, a couple of things to reflect on. I think it's really interesting, isn't it, hearing that most of the nurses that you talk to felt that they were invisible. What I would like to reflect on is a conversation that we were having yesterday about your experience with student nurses and changing placements, the numbers that you now have due to long arm supervision, for example. So can you just give us a brief overview of that from our conversation yesterday?
When I started at Exeter University, it was in January of 2023, and I came from working on a Health Education England placement expansion project for a year, and prior to that I'd been managing a 26-bedded care home setting. And I came to the university really not having worked in higher education before. I've worked in further education, but not higher education, and wondered why the vibrant and creative social care sector wasn't being used for student nurse placements, and students were coming in with a picture of I don't know, Grey's Anatomy and Casualty in their head, rather than what person-centered care truly is and what a holistic picture of care was. So when I first started in January 23, I absolutely started developing placements for our students. We're a relatively small university. We have 60 students a year on a dual program or a BSc adult program. Now every single student has a full placement in social care. So I've gone from one placement opportunity in social care to over 90 placement opportunities in social care, and in total over 140 community placements, just now starting to expand into domiciliary care as well. What changed, what flipped the switch really, was the NMC updating their guidance on who could become a practice supervisor, and they now recognise CQC registered managers, because they're independently regulated by CQC, do not have to be a nurse, but they are able now to act as a student nurse's practice supervisor. So we're able now to put students into some very creative settings, learning disability settings, dementia care homes, residential care home settings, domiciliary care settings, where the student is supported, supervised by the registered manager, the non-nurse registered manager in many cases, with the indirect, or what used to be called a long arm practice assessor, who is a nurse who can support the student by visiting a couple of times during the placement block and remotely. We've had a massive 99.9% of our students have been blown away by the experience they've had in social care. It's transformed their understanding of person-centered care, and without a doubt, for sure, every single one says they'll take their experience with them through the rest of their career wherever they go. So it's been an absolute privilege to have been able to develop some of the practice models and work with these providers to help meet their needs. I think that's a key point, is working with the providers, building that relationship.
I think that's absolutely fantastic, and thank you for what you've done. But wouldn't it be absolutely amazing if we could replicate that model across England? It would be absolutely fantastic. Thank you for sharing so much positivity there. Sarah, if I can come across to you now. So how important is investment in leadership development, research and continuing professional development in strengthening the workforce in adult social care nursing?
Thanks, Zoe. Well, it's absolutely key, really, and this is where we're delighted to come in as at the RCN Foundation. So the foundation is an independent charity. We have the 3 letters in our name, but we are independent of the Royal College of Nursing, which means that we can look at lots of other things that that we can work on. And social care nursing has actually been a priority for the foundation for the 16 years it has been in existence. So we've spent a lot of time and money and effort really to help develop that evidence base. And I think that that's what's really, really important. You talk about, we often hear invisibility, and it must be so frustrating because I feel a bit of a fraud. I'm a critical care nurse sitting here in a call around adult social care nursing, but actually, you know, when the amount I've learned personally about social care nursing, what the scope, how dynamic it is, how autonomous the nurses are, and absolutely the person-centered approaches. And you're just not afforded that in other areas of nursing. But yes, it has been silent. And I think now it's really important that we're able to give social care nurses the voice to articulate what they do, who they are, and how important they are. And I think certainly through the work that Claire is doing at Salford, we're starting to develop that narrative and that sort of framework of which to discuss and articulate the actual contribution that any social care nurse makes across a variety of settings. Where it's really interesting you talk about research and leadership. When we developed the chair in adult social care nursing, Deb came to the foundation and we had a meeting. And it was very clear, I was very clear that I didn't want that role to be somebody who sat in an ivory tower just pumping out publication after publication. That was not what we perceived. And we very much took the 4 pillars of research, education, practice and leadership and embedded that in the whole ethos of that role. And I have to say, Claire has taken that mantle on and she has absolutely run with it. She's been in post just under 2 years. And what she has done has been phenomenal. We're very, very proud to be working with her and supporting her. And I think that, you know, she's made research come alive for social care nursing. She's made it accessible. She's made it very easy for people to understand. It's not some sort of nefarious thing that's sort of only, you know, people, as I say, in ivory towers can do. And it's very much related to the practice across a range of settings. So really, really important. And actually now the next piece of work she's working on will be that framework. So it's to give that framework to those newly registered nurses, to those students, to understand actually this is the pathway I can take. And hopefully, Deb, we will build that pipeline of other professors in social care nursing.
Do come in, Deb. Thank you.
Yeah,
Sarah.
no, absolutely. We need many more Claires, and also just to acknowledge there are lots of the people who've been working in this space in terms of research around social care and nursing for some time. So to see Claire kind of take this forward, but I just wanted to also thank the RCN Foundation. I declare my interest. I have, as of November last year, became a trustee of them. But I had that idea of wanting that academic base for social care nursing in my head for about 20 years. So when I approached the foundation and they have funded that, I can't thank them enough, because it kind of was one of my dreams coming true. But to see how it's grown and it will continue to flourish with Claire and I hope with many other people is just a brilliant bit of kind of legacy almost. And I just know that there are going to, through Zena's program, we're going to spark that interest of both those postdoctoral nurses who are involved in that programme, but even before that, those nurses who are really going to come forward and be those academic leaders of the future. I think it's the combination of all of that is really going to make the difference. And I know from the seat I occupy at the moment, numbers and evidence really matters when you're looking for funding, when you're looking for shaping and changing policy going forward. So I just want to say a massive thank you to the foundation for running with this and actually being continued, as you can hear from Sarah's passion, absolute champions for taking this forward. It is going to transform the future.
Thank you.
That's fantastic. Thank you. And actually staying with research at the moment, because as you said, Deborah, it's so important in adult social care. Michelle, I don't know whether you want to come in briefly and just talk about the opportunity that you had. And I know that there's an opportunity for the second cohort, and I believe Sonia will post the link in the chat facility. Over to you, Michelle.
Yeah, so Zena is headlining and piloting the NIHR programme for research developments in social care nurses. And I was doing a piece of work with her last year, and she mentioned it. So I went on to the NIHR, looked at it, and I thought, you know what, even though I was already almost to the end of a PhD, I thought this is absolutely for me. Grabbed the opportunity. It was incredibly easy to apply for it. She's really simplified and demystified and made the form really accessible. And it was about, you know, putting down just broad ideas of where you wanted to look for, and it's really rooted in practice, which is great because it's stuff that you're doing absolutely every single day of your life in your nursing work. And we are all developing our own projects, and there's I think there's 21, 22 of us, and we've all got just absolute differences across. We're working through so many different settings, and we've all got these ideas, and we're all coalescing together and bouncing off each other, and it's just such a supportive group. And we've got these structured days that we have, like, you know, 4 or 5 hours of taught sessions from people like Michelle Howarth, and all of these great people with all of this knowledge, and Zena and Colin, and doing all of this you know, formal stuff, but also enough room to really develop our own practice. And it's absolutely open at the moment for the next cohort, and I would, you know, for those people who feel that they are invisible, grab the opportunity. The opportunities are there if you put yourself forward for it. I have to, those people that say that, I did kind of feel like that, but I have to say, since Deb came along, and it was 5 years ago, you know, yeah, it was thinking, actually, this is quite a slog, this is a mire. My career has never been so fulfilling in the last 5 years. I feel seen, I feel visible, and I feel like what I have to say is worthy of people listening, and I can't thank the people around me enough for developing that.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing, and can't wait to see all the applicants this year. It's a really exciting time. We're coming to the end of this panel discussion, but Deborah, if there was one change that could make the biggest difference to adult social care nursing over the next decade, what would that be? Big question.
Oh my goodness, that's a massive question. I think it's about using voice. I think it's about using collective voice. You're better together than you are on your own. So I think it's some sort of matrix that could be formed with all these groups. You've got Social Care Nurse Advisory Council, you've got stuff happening at QICM, you've got stuff happening at the RCN. There's something about somebody convening and bringing all that together. And wow, how powerful would that be? Because it would be unstoppable, and it would just be so loud, it would be deafening. And it just really, you know, listening to Michelle just then talk about, I feel seen and I feel visible. And you know, and you've got that support around you doing your program and that, but I just think that to me is that kind of yeah, that convening of all of that being brought together, I think would just have such impact, because it would be unstoppable. And when you think we're, you know, as nurses and across the piece, but 2% of the working population, if we harnessed our ability to be influencers, I just think that would be an absolute unstoppable beast, really.
Brilliant. Absolutely. That's wonderful. And I'm going to come to each panel member. Could I ask you to say one word that describes the future of adult social care nursing? Kathy.
Sorry, essential.
Amazing. Love that. Michelle.
For me, transformational. It really is. It's been the place where I've thrived, and I feel like I can't see myself doing anything else.
Fantastic. Sarah.
I think it's dynamic.
Brilliant. Love that. And final word, Deborah.
Unstoppable and creative, or creative and unstoppable.
Amazing. Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you so much to our panel. We only had 20 minutes and we've covered so much, and there's so much more to do, but you're inspirational, all of you. Thank you. So we're going to be moving on to hear from some of our Social Care Nursing Advisory Council chairs in a moment. But if we can, there we go. If we can play the next video, please, Alan.
Hello everyone, my name is Benny. I'm recognizing and celebrating the dedication, compassion, and vital contribution of adult social care nurses on International Nurses Day. I joined the council to ensure social care nurses' voices are heard, valued, and represented, and to help shape a stronger, more recognized future for adult social care nursing. Being a member of the council has given me a greater voice, confidence, and opportunity to influence positive change in social care nursing.
Isn't that brilliant? Thank you. And I don't know which council Ben is on, but absolutely what an asset to have on one of the Schnacks councils. So can I ask the panel, please, to introduce yourself, provide your name, your role, your setting, and in one sentence, what you love most about adult social care nursing. I'm going to come to Karen first, please.
Hiya, I'm Karen Roberts. I'm the co-chair for North Eastern Yorkshire, head of health and clinical governance for Lifeways, and also a learning disabilities nurse. And I guess for me, it's the ability to work holistically with a person, not just with the illness, that I love most about my role.
Wonderful. I love that. Thanks, Karen. And Cindy. Do we have Cindy?
Hello, my name's Cindy Wilcox and I'm the co-chair for the South West region. So it covers a big patch right down to the foot of the country. My role is Director and Registered Mental Health Nurse, and I am a Director of R10, Enriching the Next Generation, which is a not-for-profit CIC organisation, but I also own a care home. And I think the opportunities in social care and to make a difference in that sector is absolutely amazing. So yeah, if people are thinking about going into it, you should.
Brilliant. Thanks, Cindy. And Scarlett?
Hiya, I'm Scarlett McDonald. I'm a registered nurse and new commissioning manager for caring homes, and I'm also the South East co-chair with Pat. One thing that I love about social care nursing is it's person-led. People are at the heart of everything that we do. We help people to live. It's not a crisis management, it is. We help people to live happily. So that was my snippet.
Love that. Thank you, Scarlett. Michelle? Have we got Michelle?
Yeah, sorry, just reaching for my mic. Hi, my name's Michelle Howarth. I'm the co-chair with Karen Davies of the North West Social Care Nursing Advisory Council, and my day job, I'm a professor in health and social care at Intl University, and I've been delighted to help out with the intern programme as well. For me, and the reason why I went into the Schnacks in the first instance was its ability to promote person-centred care truly at the heart. So if I was to define it in one sentence, I'd say it's compassionate, person-centred leadership that demonstrates innovation and impact. And when that comes together, nursing, social care nursing can really change lives. Thanks.
That's brilliant. Thanks, Michelle. Anita. Or Joanna? No. No sound. I'm going to move on because I'm very aware of time. So when you have your mics on, please do come in. So Karen, I'm going to come back to you then. For those who don't know much about the Social Care Nursing Advisory Councils, I know Minister Kinnock has touched on them. What do the councils actually do and why does their work matter?
I think the councils bring together a wide range of partners within social care. Whilst we've got nurses, we've also got education, we've got people from ICBs, and then we look at some of the topics and the themes that are sort of affecting social care and how can we have a voice. And we look at different things. So we've done things like clinical practice, delegated healthcare activities, and raising the voice of social care. And it's amazing how many people come along and they're like, we didn't realise all the kind of stuff that happens in social care, the diverse roles of the people. So it is really interesting, and it's great to hear different partners and get sector partners together, because we don't always have that opportunity within social care. We can often work in silo, whereas this is about bringing all experienced partners together and looking at what are the challenges, how can we help our colleagues within NHS, what are the things that they are struggling with that we might be able to help. So that's some of the great things that we do within the councils.
That's brilliant, thank you. And we heard from one of our council members, and we've got some other videos from other council members available on the website too. I can see that Joanne can't unmute at the moment, so I'm going to continue moving on. We've heard a little bit about what the councils were set up for, and I'd like to invite Scarlett and Michelle to tell us a bit about some of the projects that the councils have been working on and what's been achieved so far, and what are the goals for the future.
Yeah. So we've obviously very southeast bias, but I'm really excited about the work that we've been working on down in the southeast. We've been working on the clinical competency framework, which has been adapted and at the moment getting kite marked at the University of Salford. We've been working on a communications platform, a safeguarding platform, and it sounds like a platform, but what it is in essence, it's bringing people together, getting people to sit at the table, social care and safeguarding leads, having that voice at the table, making sure everyone has an equitable access to the resources and can get the people in when they need support and talk to each other, providing that little link network for our safeguarding leads that we can really make a difference with. There's been a huge amount of projects going on about emission avoidance, sustainability, phenomenal work and having a massive impact. So that's a little roundup from the south of the country.
That's brilliant. Michelle?
So from the Northwest, we've had two key priorities which we're working really hard on. One was around developing student-ready environment, which fits beautifully with what everyone was talking about with the panel earlier about how we get in our future workforce. We've supported the creation of an innovative role that works across the acute and social care sector in supporting student nurses and that transition and that communication link as well. And we've also recently completed working with the SNACs to develop a theory of change to help give us some clear guidance for a long-term goal for our student-ready environments, but also a theory of change around how we reduce inappropriate hospital admissions. And finally, not last week, the week before, we contributed to the Northwest NIHR Regional Roadshow, where Professor Ruth Endicott visited virtually. And we talked about the role of the Northwest SNAC in supporting research and evidence-based practices and how we link up with the NIHR. So some great stuff going on in the Northwest.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much. And just reflecting on a couple of things. I think Deborah first said when the councils were set up, it's about having a seat at the table. I think looking back on the safeguarding work that the South East and now all regional shares are part of, There is definitely a seat at the table. The CNOs from the South East region are very engaged. The governance structure didn't really involve adult social care nurses, and now it does. So we've definitely got a seat at the table there. So that is huge progress being made. And what we're going to see now is that being replicated across the other regions, which is going to be fantastic. And Michelle, you just mentioned about collaboration there. And again, reflecting on what Deborah said right at the beginning of the session, it's all about collaboration and working with those different organisations across adult social care. So thanks for sharing some of the work, and everybody will see the QR code in the corner there. If you wanted to scan the QR code, or Sonia will post the link, then you can register your interest to become a member of the adult social care councils, and we're also looking for leaders of the future to become chairs of those councils going forward. Cindy, if I can come across to you, adult social care is sometimes seen as outside the centre of healthcare innovation, but we know that isn't true. What are you seeing nurses leading change in?
I think it's been absolutely amazing to join SNACS. First of all, I'm with the co-chair, Cheryl Anko, and SNACS as a whole has been really welcoming to me. And what I see is dedication, passion, energy, enthusiasm, opportunities for change. And I think within social care, I think sometimes in health, what you have is an infrastructure that is possibly different to that in social care, which sometimes means that you have people doing things for you in certain sections. Whereas I think in social care, you have to try and create those opportunities and problem solve yourself. So I think what it leads to is becoming more versatile. I think historically, if I think back to when I trained as a nurse, I've been a nurse 26 years this year, and I didn't actually know that I could be a nurse working in the social care sector. No one ever talked to me about that. It was always health, it was always the NHS, and I'm not critical about that at all. It was a great opportunity, but I think no one actually sat down and talked to me and said, this is an opportunity to do something different. You can still use your skill set. And also, I think sometimes social care gets seen as just care homes and just working in care homes. And there's nothing wrong with that either. But I think there's much more to social care than just care homes. And there's I've met amazing people. You know, SNACS is an amazing group of people doing amazing things. And I've been part of SNACS since December, and every day I just meet more and more people that just have so much heart and passion for driving this forward, and I just feel privileged to be part of it.
Thanks, Cindy. Some fantastic words there, and we encourage more people to get involved to be that voice for the sector. Can one of my panelists just talk a bit about the partnerships that we have and the organisations that we work with, especially coming out of the care show recently, those organisations that we've been working with? Anybody want to come in there?
I don't mind saying a little bit. So there has been phenomenal partnership working. Obviously, Care Quality Commission, we've had Skills for Care. There's a lot of partnerships being developed locally still. We have a lot of, our ICB colleagues. We have the Queen's Institute of Community Nurses. We have a huge, massive, influential group, NHIR. For one, we've had Public Health England involved in Lexfer competency frameworks. These connections, including the safeguarding teams, have been phenomenal for any nurse working in social care. So it's been quite pivotal. I've probably missed a few, Zoe, so I do apologise.
No, that's absolutely fantastic. And again, there's more information on the website. If I can come to all of you now and ask in one sentence, what should future nurses and leaders, why even should future nurses and leaders join us in this sector and join the social care nurse and advisory councils? And I'm going to come to Michelle first, please.
So why? I think anyone listening to the feedback today and what we actually do would probably be very excited to join us. I think that we're passionate. Anyone that's passionate about adult nursing and social care, whether they're early in the career or highly experienced, clinical or strategic, or just simply curious. I think most people are motivated to make the difference beyond their own role. And I think that's what social care offers. It's that huge kind of context that's constantly shaping and reforming, and the voices within Snacks and the way in which it's grown over the past couple of years has been phenomenal, really. And the way in which we've reached out, the way in which we've met and learned from each other, and recognizing that, you know, we're still on that learning journey, we're still growing. And the opportunity to make a difference for me has always been a passion, particularly now as we start to think about those neighbourhood models. You know, where does social care fit? What voice do we have? How can we take that forward? How do we work and develop and encourage that future workforce? How can we inspire and influence? And I think that's something that the Snacks are really good at and can really do. And they showcase themselves up and down the country, online. Today's a classic example. And it's been an absolute delight being a Snack member. And I invite lots more people to get involved, get interested, and have a voice.
Fantastic. Thanks, Michelle. And Cindy.
I think that there's so much opportunity, and I keep talking about opportunity and change. I love change. Not everyone does. Change brings uncertainty, but I think one of the important things is about doing more of what you love, maybe less of what you don't, being driven by heart, caring about the people that use services, and standing for what you believe in, I think. So, yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you. Scarlett?
So nursing and social care is one of the most fun places to be. So you've got the advocacy part of the role, you've got people leading their own care, you get to form relationships, you advocate for people and their families, you get involved in, you know, helping people to live their lives, not just the lives they want to live. Nursing isn't just about hospitals. Nursing and care homes in particular is a nurse-led service. Our leadership skills can excel in these places, and you know, these homes. We're quite critical, we're quite resilient, and within all of that, there's a lot of giggles and there's a lot of laughter along the way. So that's why I love social care nursing. You should, if you're a student, try it. Just have a wee placement, and you'll find you learn a lot about people.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And thank you to the panel. Sorry we didn't hear from a couple of other Snacks, but I know that they're in the chat facility to answer any questions if anybody has any. Thank you, team. And if I can hand over to Deborah now to just reflect on the session today, ask any of our panel members any questions, or signpost to anything that we might have missed, because there's been a lot going on. Over to you, please, Deborah.
Yeah, thank you, Zoe, and thanks everybody. That was interesting hearing all of that. I think one of my reflections is going back to Kathy's point about, you know, I was writing a few notes down to myself, and she talked, you know, about the sort of quite the negative narrative around social care nursing. And I just say this, and I kind of make this plea because it's something that really winds me up. If we keep telling that story, it's the only story that gets heard. So stop telling the story. If you accentuate the negative, you're never going to get onto the positive. So that's my absolute plea. Stop talking it down and start, you know, talking about all the other fantastic things that have been said in the last you know, hour, because that is what it's about. And if we, like I said, we're our own worst enemy sometimes. So that is an absolute plea from me around that one. And it's been an interesting conversation. You know, Sarah's points about evidence being, you know, that the critical need for that evidence base for investing in that future. I think Cindy's talked a lot about heart and you know, why that's so important, and that real passion that drives many of us. Michelle talked about, you know, feeling like she's been seen where she was invisible, you know, and I think the other thing that's that bit of narrative is, once we've got them, you know, Sarah said, I used to work in ITU, but there's quite a lot of ITU nurses floating around social care, or ex-ITU nurses So once we've got them, we tend to just kind of indoctrinate people and keep them. So we need to keep encouraging people to cross the road and come and join social care. And I think it's that sense from this conversation about that amazing, passionate drive that everybody has. And I think I can't remember who it was now. I was talking about the partnerships and illustrating all those, I think it was Scarlett, all those connectivities of organisations that we work with, and really importantly said about that role about public health as well. I think we've got an absolute opportunity with our workforce, both registered and our professional care workforce, to have a real impact around public health, and that's going to be, I think, a big thing for the future. And I'm glad that I think again it was Scarlett saying about that it's fun working in social care. It's certainly from my career, traversing across all sorts of settings, it has been the place where I've had the most enjoyment and the absolute most fun. In my last job when I was leaving, I said in my leaving speeches that I've never laughed so much since I did that job. And bearing in mind quite a bit of that time was during COVID, but even in the adversity, we kind of all pushed through. And it's that working together, that sense of community that is so vital and important, and I think has come out very strongly in the discussion and debate that we've had today. And I think for me that there's real integrity in the heart of social care nursing. And I say that because I think the kind of work that we do is so much about those personal relationships. It's about those kind of relationships with not only the people at the end of the services that we work in, but it's actually their families and their carers. Those very personal relationships that you build up with people in a very different way to other settings, I think, makes us absolutely have integrity at our heart and have those people at the absolute centre of what we do. So we don't talk person-centred, we do person-centred, and I think that's the greatest thing about social care. We actually live and breathe our values every single day. So for me, that's the essence. And I want to thank you, Zoe, and everybody at the OS for today, but all that you do, because as the convener of the Social Care Nurse Advisory Councils, it would not happen without you. So a massive thank you personally from me to you for all that you do, because you've been absolutely pivotal in making what we see today. Actually, you've helped that kind of come alive and carry on breathing as well. So a massive thank you again on this International Nurses Day from me to all of you. A personal heartfelt thank you. You make a huge difference. And I think, to Abby as well, because you set us up for a great hour of chat about making sure that your voice is heard first. And I just want to say thank you again to you for that. And I think I'm now handing over to another video, which is Duncan Burton, who's the Chief Nurse for NHS England. Thank you.
Thank you. Next slide, please. And before Duncan comes in, a huge thank you on behalf of the SHNACs and Adult Social Care Nursing for everything that you've done for the sector on International Nurses Day, Deborah. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Duncan Burton, Chief Nursing Officer for England. And on International Nurses Day, I want to say thank you to all of our adult social care nurses across England. Your expertise and skills are vital, and your deep understanding of the people, families and communities you care for is invaluable, not just to those you support today, but to the future of health and care across the country. Thank you for your commitment, leadership and the difference you make to people's lives every day.
Take care, everyone. Have a fantastic day.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.